Happens by chance that we are all here by a divine appointment. And as I address our viewing audience, you did not tune in by chance either, that we heard the call and we answered. This morning's topic is seeing with new eyes, and the light of awareness has been our theme. And I love the energy of light, because the light penetrates the darkness comprehendeth it not, and shadows flee away forever. So in other words, the light absorbs the darkness. It not only absorbs the darkness, it eventually illuminates it so that there is only the light. Seeing with new eyes is the recognition that we may be seeing things every single day of our lives. And suddenly there's a eureka moment. There is an aha moment. There is a moment of epiphany where we see it differently. We see it so much more magnificently than we ever saw it before. And I made a commitment that when I moved here to Palm Springs and I look unto the mountains from whence cometh my strength, that I would always be in awe of those mountains and where we live. Because so many times people live in beautiful places and they forget because they get involved in their daily routine. But you see, in our way of life, we transform the routines of work into celebrations of life and love. That's what I love about our way of life, that every day is a new opportunity to make that shift to a higher frequency and to see things differently. The Course in Miracles states, I can choose peace instead of this. I can choose love instead of this. I can choose joy instead of this. I can choose health instead of this. That we are always at choice. Choose thee this day whom you will serve. God, life, truth, beauty, or the ego, as the Bible called it, mammon. Those lower frequency energies that no longer serve us and that we constantly give our power away to. And I say, let's claim our power, let's take it back. Let's shine the light on the crooked places within us and stand up and be counted. Seeing with new eyes. Blessed are they who have eyes that see, who have ears that hear, who has a heart that is open to the beauty and aliveness of life. In my other ministry in San Diego, where I served for 20 years, to 3,000 people, and we started out with 60 people, and it grew in 5 years. And what was so amazing about that ministry, energetically, is that there was still a feeling of intimacy and energy in that congregation, because they were there for one reason and one reason only, and that was to have a spiritual experience. And of course, we had things going on all the time, 12-step programs, you name it. We had them going on every single day. Book studies, as Alan's doing, all the energies that allow us to grow and unfold and to transform. And while I was in San Diego, in that ministry, we used to sing a song every single Sunday morning, and it was called Open My Eyes. And it was such a beautiful song. It was, open my eyes that I may see fullness of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hand that wonderful key, that shall unclasp and set me free. My eyes are open, now I see. Place in my hand that wonderful key, that shall unclasp and set me free. My eyes are open. When we open the inner eye, remembering the third eye, the God's eye, as the ancient Hindi called it, that the same eye in which I see God is the same eye in which God sees me. Energetically, there is that opportunity that we have to see through the appearances, the conditions, and the effects. When Buddha and his disciples were taking a walk, there was a decomposing dog on the path. And the disciples were, quite taken up, and they wanted to pass, by the dog as quickly as possible, of course. But Buddha stopped and he blessed the remains and said, oh my, what a fine set of teeth the animal had, and went on his way, and was really unaffected by the appearance because he saw it differently. Because energy is neither destroyed nor created. Energy changes form. All life is eternal. The veil is very thin. When we choose to see with new eyes, we see things differently. We shine the light on those dark places. And when we say to ourselves, I'm in the dark about this, but when we are in the dark about something, to stay with it and do what we need to do until the light goes on. Now, it's interesting, I have a friend, and he said that he was like such a worrier. He said, I've done everything not to worry. And we know that worry is the morbid use of the visualizing capacity of our mind. And we use conscious languaging in our way of life. We don't say, I am worried. We say, I have healthy concern about this. That lifts it to a different energy field. It's about conscious languaging. In fact, it was suggested that I write a book called Watch Your Language because I am so adamant about it. Because remember, that which we utter from the throat chakra becomes the outer. So as we stand porter at the gate of our conscious mind, allowing only those things in that serve, our life moves up energetically to a much higher vibratory frequency. And so he said, I'm just worried about everything you can imagine, and gone to 12-step, Worriers Anonymous. I've just done everything there is to do about worrying, and I finally hired a worry manager. A worry manager, just think of it, that can take care of all my worries. I don't have to worry about a thing. I just give my worry manager all my worries and concerns and just let them go. I said, my gosh, how much does he charge? He said, $50,000. I said, $50,000? My gosh, where are you going to get that kind of money? He says, hey, that's his worry. Don't we love it? Don't we just love it? That we just give it to God. We just let go and let God do what God does best by means of us. Because there is a higher power, a higher intelligence in the universe, and that it is always working. And that being in community, energetically, is such a gift for us. Because that energy in this very room, there is the mind of God, whatever we choose to call it, whatever name we put on it. Seeing with new eyes is the opportunity to see through to the very essence of life. And Ken Wallace, who is a very famous life coach, and he's an author, and he's done many, many things, he talked about his grandfather and his grandmother. And he said his grandmother had Alzheimer's disease. And it progressed to the point where she didn't know her own daughter, his mother. She didn't know him, the grandson, and she didn't know her own husband, Grandpa. And he said that pretty soon, after a while, she had to go into a home. And that every single day he went to see her. That she did not know him, but he went to see her. He took her hand, they went for walks. And all of his friends said after 10 years of this, why do you go and see her? She doesn't even know who you are. And he said, but I know who I am. I know who I am. And on some level, this love is reaching that place within her. And as I hold her hand, I know who she is. And I was so deeply moved when I heard this interview. Because he had it within him to look through the appearances, the conditions, and effects at a person that he'd been with for 68 years, if you can imagine. 68 years. Knew who she was. Knew who he was. So when we look at our lives and seeing with new eyes and seeing through what is being expressed, energetically, it's such an opportunity for us. And we all have our challenges. We have our things to deal with. I got the neighbors that, live in front of me, and I used to refer to them as the renters, which I do not do anymore. They are the residents, right? And they like to party hardy, and they party till 4 in the morning, and they whoop it up. And at first, I used to say, oh, could you please keep it down? They go, yeah, over the fence, right? And I've got all these ficus, so I can't see them, they can't see me. And I thought, I'm going to do the nice thing, because I'm such a nice person, and I am treating for them, and I'm sending them love and energy, peace and goodwill over the ethers and the fence. And they are just, whooping it up and, past the bourbon and, all of that. And so my representative, my neighborhood representative, is the Reverend Chaplain Roger Bambanek, who is our chairperson for our neighborhood. So I went to our chairperson, our chaplain at Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, who is also the director of chaplaincy at Desert Regional, and said, I just don't know what to do about this. And he goes, here is the number that you call. It is a non-emergency number for the police. You call them, you just have them go over and say a few words. So, that's what I started doing. And I recognized that, I don't feel comfortable with this. But in another regard, something needs to be done. And I don't like being awakened at 2 in the morning. And this morning at 2 in the morning, there was this, uproarious sounds and energies. So I got on the phone and I called and I said, this is Dr. Sharron Stroud, and I'm calling about my neighbors. And they said, oh, Dr. Stroud, are they at it again? I mean, they know, they know the routine. They know the drill, that this is just what they do. And I can't help what they do, but I can do something for my own peace. And I can assert myself, even though I don't feel comfortable with it. And she said, Dr. Stroud, you can make a citizen's arrest, and I can tell you how to do that. I said, honey, it's 2 in the morning. I can just see the papers now. Dr. Sharron Stroud, Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, minister, founder, goes over in bathrobe and make a citizen arrest to drunken neighbors. I mean, I just don't think it reads well. So I said, I'm calling you because right now you're my higher power. And I've sent prayers, I've sent love, I've sent peace and goodwill, I've done energetically all there is to do, and I'm sure they think I'm the biggest witch in the world and probably a real square. But I said to her, I work Sundays. And she said, so do I. So she understood. And I just let it go. And pretty soon, there was a lot of screaming and carrying on, and pretty soon there was silence. And I just said, thank you, Father, Mother God, for the peace that passes all understanding. That, I can see them in a certain light, but they have certain behaviors that are not consistent to how I see them, but I'm going to still see them that way. And I light incense outside when I just do this whole thing in the morning. I clear the energy, I bless them, and they keep doing what they're doing. But I know the angel of light can reveal herself, and today they may be that. So we always have to kind of hold out that thought that there is change and transformation, but still do what needs to be done for ourselves. And when we get it, that we love ourselves, and Jesus was very clear about it, love thy neighbor as thyself, which presupposes that we love ourselves, that we have an unconditional positive regard for ourselves and our own lives, and that if there are people that are trespassing over that and they don't take the sign of when you ask nicely, there are other avenues. And so we can't feel bad about that. We do what we do, where we are, with what we have. So I made peace with that, even though I do feel uncomfortable about it. And through that energy and the knowingness that the angel of light can reveal herself, that we really can't judge anyone from their past, that shining the light every single day on a person and their energy field, I tear down the walls of opinion that separate my brothers and sisters from me. I set them free from the projection of myself so I may see them as they are. I will not measure them with the yardstick of yesterday, for perhaps in the night an angel of light revealed to them what they are, and today they may be that. That is the thought and the energy that we hold out for all humanity. And when we get it at a deep level, that yes, we're dealing with the everyday, that there are things we do feel uncomfortable with, but it doesn't keep us from shining our light and knowing the truth and arising through each experience, coming out on the other side of it, and to know that we are worthy, as Dostoevsky said, of our sufferings, that we learn from them, we grow from them, we arise through them as the phoenix from its ashes, triumphant and victorious. This is why we are here, to learn, to grow, to transform. Be not conformed to the things of this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind every single day of our lives. That we are shining our light and seeing with new eyes. We are seeing at a higher level, even though that may not be expressed at that moment. That if we have the awareness, we make the adjustment. Just as Grandpa said, she may not know who I am, but I know who I am. That we know who we are. And that we see through the appearances, the conditions, and the effects to the truth of being. Stop giving our power away to people, places, and things. I don't think they really want it anyway. And when we get it, that we are all powerful, and that we have within us our own sovereign nature, and that we can act with compassion. My hairdresser was saying yesterday that there was a gal that came in. He said she was severely OCD. Now, any A-type personality is a little OCD, but that's, kind of obsessive-compulsive energy. And she said that everything that her employee and her staff person did, she would say, well, why are you cutting it like that? Why are you combing it like that? Why are you da-da-da-da-da? He goes, finally, I was ready. I was working on something, and I was hearing everything. I heard nothing that my client was saying. I heard everything back here. And finally, I turned, and I just said, if we cannot please you, our aim is to please, but if we cannot please you, then this is not an energy we want here in our shop. So we're going to have to ask you to leave. And so he said, his staff member said, oh, we don't want her to leave. We're just going to do the very best we can for her. And just know that it's going to be exactly as you want your hair. I'm going to just do my best. He goes, I'm lethal. I'm carrying scissors. And she's acting out like this. I do my prayers. He's also a minister. And he goes, I do my prayers every single morning. Bless everyone who comes in here. I'm the minister. But here's my little staff member using compassion and love. And I was suddenly taken aback. And it hit me. And I looked at her with new eyes. I looked at her with compassion. And after she left, my staff member said, she's ill. She needed love. It wasn't easy, but that's what I extended because I knew that is what was called for. So we can do all the prayers in the world and bless it all. And when we lose it, I always say, whenever we shoot from the hip, we can clean it up later, right? That we're all subject to the human condition to forgive ourselves and to realize at that moment there's compassion, that there is love, that Grandma may not know who I am, but I know who I am, that I see with new eyes. Open my eyes that I may see fullness of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hand that wonderful key that shall unclasp and set me free. Silently now I wait for thee. Silently now I open to thee. My eyes are open. Now I see. When we can see at that level, when we can be at that level, we have now just gone up the spiral to another evolutionary circle, remembering that life is a self-evolving circle, imperceptibly small at first, reaching outward to ever-widening circles toward infinity, that we are placed in the energy field of opening to life, to seeing with new eyes, and that does make all the difference. Today I see with new eyes because I am going, what? Higher yet. Where am I going? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. And so it is. God bless you.